It's August again when we remember as South Africa no less than 44 people who were killed in violence in Marikana in the northwest. 34 of those were striking mine workers who were shot and killed by police on the 16th of August 2012, a day now remembered as the Marikana massacre. To discuss, we're joined now by SERI attorney Asenati Tukela. Mr. Tukela, thank you for being with us. In short, you've been representing several of the families of those miners who were killed. There has been some compensation. Just tell us what has happened over the years and where you believe that justice, even now, is still outstanding.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us and giving us the chance to speak about Marikana. So over the years, SERI has represented 36 of the 37 families that lost their loved ones in Marikana between the 13th and the 16th of August in 2012. And in the pursuit of justice, we haven't received any measurable success and any form of compensation that could provide the level of healing that our clients require from the state. We have launched in 2015 a civil claim on behalf of 36 families, a civil claim in which we claim for about 4 or 5 heads of damages against the state. The first and primarily being the apology, an apology that shows that there is a level of recognition and appreciation of what Marikana is to the country and to the country's democracy firstly, but also the level of damage that Marikana caused on the families. So an apology that kind of shows that there is acknowledgement of what Marikana is and not just it being described as a dark moment in our history.
Yeah.
The other part of our claims was the loss of support because the deceased were breadwinners in their families. They were fathers, they were husbands, and they were siblings who provided socio-economic care to their families. And the rest of the claim that we brought on behalf of the families was in relation to the damages. The damages in relation to trauma, pain, and suffering, psychiatric injury as a result of the massacre and the brutal murder of people's loved ones. And lastly, constitutional damages for loss of parental care because children were minors, were orphaned by the state through the police. Widows have, the wives of the deceased have become widowed. As a result, we claim for constitutional damages for loss of parental care and constitutional damages for loss of spousal support.
So between sorry to cut in, it's just because of time, between 2018 and 2019, the state did make some settlements, I understand, for 34 of the families. Why is that not enough? You say that it's not even close to dealing with the many issues here.
It's not, and the state understands that this is not enough to provide for compensation for what Marikana is to these families. It is not also because in our civil claim we've submitted 5 heads of damages, and the settlement that was presented by the state between 2018 and 2019 was in relation to only 1 head of damages, which is the loss of support. I mean, it is obvious, we do not have to dispute that if breadwinners are deprived from families, then there is a level of support socio-economically that is deprived from those families. So the state considered on the loss of support, and that is why they settled and provided for compensation only in relation to loss of support. But there hasn't been compensation for the trauma and the pain and the suffering that Marikana caused. There hasn't been compensation for the psychiatric injury that Marikana caused. And perhaps maybe we need to personalize these injuries so that people out there could understand what we are talking about. There are widows who, upon receiving the news of the brutal murder of their husbands in Marikana, collapsed and died, and some of them collapsed and were resuscitated in hospital. There are children as a result of the trauma of Marikana who have since fallen into depression and committed suicide because they can no longer take the trauma and the level of living that they have to continue with after the brutal murder of their fathers. So that's the outstanding part of the claim. Yeah. Also, there's constitutional damages because fathers and spouses of people were deprived of, were taken as a result of the murder, were brutalized actually, were murdered, and as a result, there should be compensation for the damage of the protections that the constitution in the country provides to the widows and the families.
Mr. Tukela,
so that is the outstanding part of the claim.
We have to stop there, but we will continue this discussion, of course, throughout the month of August. And essentially, SERI attorney Asenati Tukela is saying that the fight for justice continues, and we are now 11 years down the line since the Marikana massacre.